This is your source for breaking news and what to make of it all. This is the Mike Gallagher Show.
This is not about politics. It's about us, the USA. And look at how great Americans are when purpose comes to us in a crisis. And two tribes start to fight each other in partisan politics. And that is not what we need. We need a collection right now. This is a tug of war with the virus. We need all hands on the rope.
Now, from the ReliefFactor.com studios, here's Mike Gallagher.
Decide what to start with, what to lead with. I don't think there's a better way to lead this hour than with the governor of Florida, who many are suggesting is owed an apology. Rich Lowry at National Review says, where's the apology parade going to begin for all the predictions that states like Florida and Georgia were going to become slaughterhouses? We all heard that, right? We all heard it over and over again in the mainstream media. These yahoos are trying to open their states to try to let people make a livelihood again, earn a living, make money. Businesses that have been the lifeblood of communities are going away forever. And Desantis was mocked and attacked, and Georgia's numbers, Florida numbers, really, numbers nationally are going down. We know that. We have flattened the curve. Hospitals are not overwhelmed, which was the entire point of the massive lockdown. And I say all of this with a heavy heart because I'm not sitting around wanting anybody to be sick. Talked to a family friend yesterday whose loved one might be sick in bed with it right now. And I can't even begin to imagine their fear. I can't even begin to imagine their uncertainty, their worry. It breaks my heart. And I just weep at the stories of the loss of life and the illness. That Broadway star, that guy that lost his leg and has been through so much, it appears he's taken a turn for the worse. His wife is now sending out messages on social media that her husband, Nick Cordero, is not doing well. They thought he was going to make it. He woke up last week or so, a week or two ago, and they were so optimistic, but he's been through, this is like a 40-something-year-old guy. This is not anybody who's in a category of vulnerability, if you will, that I know of. And now it looks bad. So I don't want that to happen to anybody. This is a horrible, horrible bargain. But doggone it, if you're in the media and you lined up and you attacked Governor Ron DeSantis because you thought he was ridiculously opening too quickly, that Florida was wrong and that people are going to die and the hospitals are going to be overwhelmed. Well, he kind of let loose yesterday in a press event. Governor DeSantis sort of told the world he was a little annoyed with the way people have responded to the state of Florida.
Our data is available. Our data is transparent. In fact, Dr. Birx has talked multiple times about how Florida has the absolute best data. So any insinuation otherwise is just typical partisan narrative trying to be spun. And part of the reason is that because you got a lot of people in your profession who waxed poetically for weeks and weeks about how Florida was going to be just like New York. Wait 2 weeks, Florida's going to be next. Just like Italy, wait 2 weeks. Well, hell, we're 8 weeks away from that, and it hasn't happened. Not only do we have a lower death rate, well, we have way lower deaths generally. We have a lower death rate than the Acela Corridor, D.C., everyone up there. We have a lower death rate than the Midwest, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio. But even in our region, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida has the lower death rate. And I was the #1 landing spot from tens of thousands of people leaving the #1 hot zone in the world to come to my state. So we've succeeded, and I think that people just don't want to recognize it because it challenges their narrative, it challenges their assumption, so they got to try to find a boogeyman. Maybe it's that there are black helicopters circling the Department of Health. If you believe that, I got a bridge in Brooklyn I'd like to sell you.
Wow. He was standing next to Vice President Pence, who was visiting, And I'm watching the media coverage of the vice president's visit. And honest to goodness, I can't be alone in this. You got to feel the same way. There are times I feel like I'm going crazy. I'm cracking up. I feel like I'm losing it. I'm watching the media. First of all, they barely touched on this bombshell announcement from the CDC. It was actually the media noticing the CDC changed their guidelines. Did you hear the CDC now believes that it's not easily transmitted from surfaces? You heard that, right? Oh, no? Well, maybe that's because the mainstream media didn't seem to do a lot with that yesterday. It is apparently true. The new guidance from the CDC, the new scientific analysis is it's not easily transmitted from surfaces. Don't worry so much about surfaces. It's human to human. Now they're back to human, not surface to human. So what's going to happen to all the poor people that are, standing there wiping down grocery carts every day? What about all the fancy electrostatic sprays in airplanes? What about wiping down groceries and packages? Never mind. Never mind. And you wonder why people are cynical or confused? Now, riddle me this, Batman. How do you go into a burger place and eat a burger with a mask on? Because I'd love to know. David Muir of World News Tonight seems to think that Desantis and Pence and the patrons at a burger joint in Florida should be shamed for not wearing their masks. And I'm sitting, honest to goodness, I'm sitting on my couch thinking, I'm losing it. I'm cracking up. Here's the first example of we don't have it yet. Let's get Pavlina 12, 13, and 14, guys, because I gotta play these clips. You gotta hear, and I can sum it up for you and correct me. You go ahead and straighten me out. How do you eat food with a mask on? I'm not trying to be a smart aleck, because ABC thinks if you go into a burger place and sit down to have a burger, you better, by golly, have a mask on, or we're going to shame you on national television. That's what they're saying. Now, am I the crazy one, or are they crazy? Am I nuts? Or is David Muir and ABC, listen, they're big fancy, they're the highest rated evening newscast. ABC World News Tonight. World News Tonight. You just wait and hear what they say about people who dared to go in to have a burger and didn't have a mask on. Honest to goodness, I can't get to Friday fast enough. I need you today. You got to lift me up, because I'm frustrated. I'm cynical. I want to be right. I'm not a doctor. I'm not WebMD. I'm a talk show host who's in this with you. You're in this with me. And we're going to get through all of it together. There's a big election coming up in a few months. Poor Joe Biden is trying to be forced into picking Stacey Abrams. I'm not sure he could pick her out on a map or on a piece of paper, because she hasn't done much except be a Georgia state legislator, but she seems to think it's hers. She's entitled to that. We are in Crazyville. But it's not crazy to remind you we're in the ReliefFactor.com studios. It's not crazy to invite you to join me so I can hear some soothing voices of reason. It's not crazy for me to express to you how grateful I am for your support of Team Gallagher. Here's our number, 1-800-655-MIKE, 800-655-6453. Come on and join us. And wait till you hear what my examples of ABC mask shaming the vice president and the governor of Florida and patrons for trying to eat burgers without a mask. I kid you not, that and more all coming up.